Good evening, East Orange community. We are super excited about another opportunity to come and greet you and talk to you about what is going on in the East Orange School District. So, first and foremost, I definitely want to send greetings on behalf of our esteemed superintendent, Mr. Abdul Salim Hassan. If he has an opportunity, he'll jump in and he'll join us this evening. But today we're going to focus on our partnership with the New York Giants. It's kind of like a trifecta because it also has some parts of it that goes along with the city of East Orange. And I know that over the past few years, we have actually been doing Fitnessgram, but through Play 60 and facilitating the events of this partnership to my side as Dr. Dawn Stokes Tyler has really been looking at a way to make Fitnessgram enticing to our students because we do know that our community needs to be aware of our health, of our weight, of obesity issues, of the food that we eat, and all of those different things that really make us strong. Because we have to not only focus on being strong in our mind, but we have to be strong in our body, especially with things going on like COVID-19, the flu, all of those different things that impact us, that being physically fit will truly make the difference. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce my right hand, who's always there with me, Dr. Dawn Stokes Tyler, and she's going to facilitate the events of the day with the Giants. We actually have a Giant player with us and some of our esteemed staff members, as well as our new physical education supervisors. So, Dr. Tyler, I just want to say thank you for all that you do. We appreciate you and looking
Thank you.
forward to hearing all of the things for the evening.
Thank you so much, Assistant Superintendent Champagne. We thank you for joining us tonight. Welcome, East Orange community. I'm very excited tonight about our partnership with Play 60, the New York Giants, the Cooper Institute, and we're here tonight to talk a little bit about what we're doing in the district and how you, as parents and students, can help us along this journey. So, first, I want to invite a lot of our guests who are here tonight. I will start with our athletic director, Mr. Michael Baldwin. He's joining us tonight. Thank you, Mr. Baldwin, for coming. And listen, we didn't have school today, so we're working tonight, even though school is closed, right? Next, we have some of the best physical education teachers in the district. First, I will like to introduce one of our newest member, Miss Diggs. How you doing, Miss Diggs? Miss Diggs is joining us tonight. Our another physical education teacher. I like to categorize her as she has the best sneaker game in the district. Miss Candace Cummings from Campus High School. Say hi. Take your mics off, guys. And another physical education teacher. When I was doing phys ed as the supervisor, this one teacher was always in my corner, always assisting me. Carolyn Pozo, I like to welcome her to the screen. Thank you to our teachers for being on the front line and coming with us tonight. I would also like to introduce our new physical education supervisors who also are first science supervisors. First, I would like to introduce one of the senior supervisors in our department, Mr. Akeem Adisa. How you doing, Mr. Adisa?
Hello, everyone. How are you?
He is the supervisor for elementary science and physical education. And I would like to introduce Dr. Mwangi. Dr. Mwangi is the supervisor of secondary science and physical education. Dr. Mwangi, would you like to introduce our other esteemed guests tonight?
Yes, good evening, everybody, and thank you very much, Dr. Tyler. I'd like to introduce the Fitnessgram Cooper Institute, who are here with us today. They have been very instrumental in training our teachers on how to utilize the Fitnessgram program. They have answered our questions every time we asked. Hope they're not tired of our emails. We're going to keep sending you. But I'd like to introduce Christine Anderson, who is the Youth Education Program Manager at Cooper Institute. And I'd also like to introduce Dr. Angelika Pavlovich. She's the Director of Research and Education at Cooper Institute.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Dr. Tyler?
And then I would like to introduce our district teacher trainer who also serves as our Place 60 representative for the district, Mr. Byron Hamby. How you doing, Mr. Hamby?
Good. Excited to be here tonight.
Okay, Mr. Hamby, can you do the honors for us tonight?
Yes, thank you. And tonight I'm honored to introduce New York Giants linebacker number 52, Carter Coughlin. Carter's been with the New York Giants since the 2020 season and made his first NFL tackle by sacking Tom Brady. Prior to his NFL career, Carter attended the University of Minnesota, where he was a standout player, finishing third all-time in sacks. In addition, this is not Carter's first time partnering with East Orange during the 2020 during the 2020 season. Carter partnered with the mayor's office on the Team of Teens initiatives to help support some of our schools and families in the community. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Carter Coughlin.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Great. It's so great to be here. We don't take it lightly in your busy schedule. Being an NFL player to come and, grace our community and talk and work with us. Would you like to share anything before we start?
Yeah, well, just being on the Giants and being involved with the Team of Teams, East Orange just is starting to have a really special place in my heart. So honestly, it's my privilege, and I'm excited to dig into this tonight.
Great, thank you. And those of you who are watching, share this on your personal pages because we want everyone to see this great partnership we have with the New York Giants, with Cooper Institute, and all of the things that they will be helping us accomplish here in the East Orange School District. So right now, I want to give Cooper Institute the opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about Fitnessgram and what it is, so that our parents will be familiar with it. If you can give us, I know we're going to talk about it a little later in our questioning, but if you can give us a brief overview.
Absolutely. So I will talk a little bit about Fitnessgram. Most people have heard the word Fitnessgram at some point, but to actually know the reasoning behind it, I think is the most crucial part of Fitnessgram itself. So just to kind of sum it up, Fitnessgram is a comprehensive physical fitness assessment tool. By comprehensive, we mean that it measures all 5 health-related components of fitness. So cardio fitness, body composition, muscular strength, muscular endurance, and flexibility. And the interesting thing about Fitnessgram is, and the most important one, is the fact that it is evidence-based, aka science-based. And the important part is that the kids that are doing the assessment are not being compared to each other. So it doesn't matter how John does compared to Bob. It really is all about health outcomes. So all of our assessments are in some capacity linked to a scientific health outcome. For example, the cardio test PACER, which most people are familiar with, is technically linked to a child's risk of having metabolic syndrome, which is just a precursor for type 2 diabetes. So it is linked to risk of disease, not performance. So when a child does a certain amount of laps, they end up being in either the healthy fitness zone or the needs improvement zone. If they're in the healthy fitness zone, they're not at risk for having diseases. But if they're in that needs improvement or the health risk zone, it means that statistically and scientifically, that kid is much more likely to have type 2 diabetes, to have metabolic syndrome, and in general, other health problems. The same is true for our muscle battery. It's linked to bone health. So it really isn't about performance. It's all about keeping the child healthy and ensuring that the absence of disease follows them for the long term.
So, doctor, if I could probe a little bit, what are some diseases that students can get from being like unhealthy or overweight?
Absolutely. That's a fantastic question. So the one thing that Fitnessgram is linked to is metabolic syndrome. And then I say that first because that's sort of the precursor to all subsequent diseases that might follow. So metabolic syndrome is a cluster of risk factors. There's technically 5 of them. Presence of obesity, high free fatty acids, high blood sugar, hypertension, and bad cholesterol, right? So if a child has 3 out of those 5, they're known to have a metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome, if left untreated, will lead to type 2 diabetes 9 times out of 10. And then type 2 diabetes will oftentimes lead to plaque buildup in the arteries that are supplying blood to the heart. And that then leads to cardiovascular disease. You never hear of people dying from type 2 diabetes because those people usually end up dying because of heart disease, which also can then lead to kidney problems, polycystic ovarian disease. And I know that these conditions are very serious, but the reason we talk about it in kids is type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome used to not be present in kids. It didn't used to be a problem. Not long ago, just a few decades ago, type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes until kids started developing it. Now it's called type 2 diabetes, but it's one of the few chronic conditions that's actually treatable. So when we look at even young kids, a lot of them, 50% of them have at least one of those risk factors. And these are among second and third graders. When you look at 12 to 18-year-olds in the United States, just as recently as 2020, about 20% of kids had prediabetes. So they had that problem regulating blood sugar. And that's just 12 to 18-year-olds. So it's no longer an adult problem. It is really becoming a kid problem due to poor nutrition, lack of physical activity, and an increase in obesity. And I can go on about this for a long time, but I'll stop there.
I thank you. That's information that we need to know. I'm a parent, so I don't think about my children with type 2 diabetes. I think about myself. So I watch what I eat, but I guess sometimes as parents, and maybe I'm the only parent, we think about things like that for them way down the line. And we don't think about it now while they're young. So I think that information is important. So I kind of want to jump panel into the questions. And Mr. Coughlin, if you don't mind, if I call you Carter, if you could answer this first question for us. Why is it important, in your opinion, for kids to be healthy? Like, how did that affect you as a child? What was health like for you? If you could share that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. As a kid, I was really active. I loved playing sports, and I get that not everybody loves sports, but that was a way for me to be active and work on my health and all that kind of stuff. And I think that just with the way that video games and all that kind of stuff are growing, and I get it, man. Like, all the kids love Fortnite. I don't blame you. I played Fortnite too, but it's just so crucial to get outside and go play. And with that, being a professional athlete, I also know how important nutrition is. And, exercise is great, but if you're just replacing everything you did exercise-wise with junk that you put into your body, it's not helping, and it's really just bringing you down. And so, just being an athlete now and looking back, I can just see how crucial it is to, number one, be active, go play outside, go run, do all that kind of stuff, set goals for yourself, and then 2, follow that up with nutrition after you do all that.
Okay. The rest of the panel, if you want to chime in on that question about kids being healthy, and what are your thoughts and why is it important?
Yeah, I think it's important. Just as our kids, they start, being healthy. I think they start developing life habits. Starting to exercise on a regular basis, making good food choices. And I know one of our goals in phys ed is to help our students lead a healthy and active lifestyle, not only while they're in school, but after they graduate and throughout adulthood. So I think being healthy as an adolescent and developing those habits help them carry those habits into their adulthood, and they can continue to be healthy throughout the rest of their lives.
I think it's also very important as well. From a scientific point of view, I will be specific on the genetic point of view. Every kid or every human being has a genetic makeup. So to reach the fullest potential of the genetic makeup, it is very important for kids to be healthy so that this will be expressed in their phenotype, which is their physical expression as they get older. We want them to be healthy, we want them to be active, and eating healthy meals so that they will obtain the nourishment, the vitamins, and the minerals that the body needs to grow to reach the fullest potential of their genetic makeup.
Anyone
Just to
else?
I'm sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
Just to piggyback off of that, I agree. As humans, we're creatures of habit. So if you develop those healthy habits now while you're young, the chances of them transitioning over when you're older is greater. So it's definitely important for young people to get out, get busy, move around, and learn those habits are going to probably be life forming for the rest of your life.
Right.
I
Also,
also
And
think.
if I can,
Oh, sorry.
sorry,
I
if I
think
can piggyback on what everybody has mentioned so far, I think it's due to physical activity decreases the likelihood of disease, as Dr. Pavlovich mentioned. And so if child starts physical activity pretty early along their academic life, they're going to probably have less absences, and that will affect, of course, the academic performance.
not only does it affect like our future as we're talking, but kind of in the current state now, I think that kids perform how they feel. So if they feel better, they do better. That's how I see it. And just being healthy now is a reflection of how they do right now.
so I think that kind of segues into our next question, panel. How does it make you feel when you are in shape? Because you all are in shape. How does it make you feel? I'm learning to be in shape. How does it make you feel?
You have the energy, you have the confidence to kind of take like I said in the last question, kind of it makes you feel better, you do better, just having that extra energy and having that extra confidence for life.
And you feel rejuvenated, like she was saying with the confidence piece, you feel rejuvenated, you feel like you can move around. Your range of motion is good, and when you obviously if you feel good, nothing hurts or it takes less time for you to feel that pain. It's like, all right, let's do this. You can just bounce back into and get into whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish within that day or within that activity. So it's extremely important to be in shape and feel that way. So whatever needs to be done to do that is most important.
I definitely have to agree with Miss Cummins. As a man in his 50s, I can tell you, if it wasn't for working out, it would be difficult for me to even get out of the bed in the morning. It's just that my body is so used and conditioned to working out that I sleep better. It's definitely less stressful, better endurance. So it's vital.
I've also found, just to add on to Mr. Baldwin, and that makes the two of us for 50 and over. I've also found that I'm less irritable when I see a set of stairs. I don't go, oh no, I embrace it. I actually enjoy moving up and down the stairs when I'm in shape. I'm also able to play more with my daughter. She's 7 years old, a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. So it's that feeling, like Miss Candy said, that confidence, and that energy that you have continuously. I'm able to think faster, make decisions better. I'm able to accomplish more within a single day, just by having that 1 hour of exercise daily.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else? So we're having some comments in the chat that people are saying things like this is great and this is informative. We want to say hi to our board president, Terry Swanson Tucker. Thank you for watching for tonight. So the next question I have for us, I want to start with a little, I guess, a precursor. So I was one of those people who had that pandemic weight. Like I put on extra weight while we're during the pandemic because I was eating a lot. And I guess it was a lot of nervous eating, but that overeating affected my health, right? So I want to ask you all, how does being out of shape affect your work? I mean, I have my answer, but I want to hear from you. So Carter, if you want to start first, I don't know if you have instances where you're out of shape, but if you could, kind of shed some light on for us.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, being a professional football player, one of the parts of your job is being in shape. And so, during the season, I'm in great shape. But then we get to the off season, and after a long season, I'm like, man, I need to take a break and kind of relax on some of my schedule stuff, on my regimen, on what I like to eat, working out and stuff, and then I get back in the weight room and get back running and stuff like that, and it feels like I'm incredibly out of shape. And for me, like, working out and being in shape is just something that I feel like if I check that off for the day, I feel like I accomplished something. And so, that's why I think it's so crucial to have something that you do once a day, whatever it is, to go benefit your health. And all these experts are talking about that. It's so crucial beyond just looking good or being able to run as fast as as you want to, whatever. Like, it has lasting implications for your kids and for the kids listening, for yourself. And so for me, being out of shape, I can't focus as well. My energy's down, which is crazy, because you'd think that, like, the more you exercise, you'd be even more tired. But for me, if I'm just sitting around all day, my energy's down. I can't focus. I don't get good sleep, and to be honest with you, I notice it a lot.
I'll jump in if you guys don't mind. So I do a ton of personal training on the side of my actual real job, but I've seen a lot of people struggle with the weight gain during COVID, and of course that tends to be very nutrition oriented. Rather than physical activity. Of course, physical activity contributes. But I think one thing to sort of be aware of during this time, I know we all at the Cooper Institute worked from home. And I remember in the beginning of the pandemic, it's like, oh, break between meetings. Let me go to the kitchen, grab a snacky snack. And, I'll come back and then I'll go eat again. But a lot of this was just kind of mindless eating, which is in general, a pretty well-known concept is that we just go because the food is there and it's available, and we just go and we eat, and we don't think about it. So really finding structure around food, and of course finding structure around exercise, is of utmost importance when it comes to prevention of weight gain. So I'll stop there.
Well, I'm gonna engage in this conversation. So, for me, I get lazy when I'm out of shape. And I know most of you will be very surprised when I say this next word. And I also get very sad when I'm out of shape. And when I notice that I'm getting sad, I know that it's time to hit the gym. So when I'm back in the gym, it's just so much exciting and happy, and the joy just rejuvenate itself, and just walking out. And luckily for me, I'm surrounded with people that are always going to the gym, so that's motivation for me. And but I try to make sure that just eating healthy and exercising, it's a lifestyle. It's not something that I have to plan, but for me it's just a lifestyle. But when I notice that I'm getting sad, or when I'm getting very lazy, I know that something is off. And when I notice that I haven't been to the gym, which means that I need to re-engage in working out again, and at the highest level.
I can agree with what you piggyback on what you said, Mr. Adisa. I know, if I'm not exercising on a regular basis, or if I'm eating too much junk food, my mood, my energy level's not where I typically like it to be at. So I can definitely relate to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's it's very important to be in shape, and being out of shape, about it right away, right? So this is a question where we're speaking directly to the parents. If you were to give parents advice on keeping their children healthy, what would you say?
Should I jump in on that?
I was going to say, everybody don't talk at once.
I think the most important advice I would give is nutrition. Kids are naturally going to work out. They're going to run, but nutrition. Stay away from the processed foods. Try to do fresh foods or frozen foods if you have to, as much as possible. I think that's the key, developing those healthy eating habits and nutritional habits.
Yes. You got to introduce them early to like the fruits, the veggies, those different things. So that like when they see them, it's not like, what is that? You know, so it gives them an opportunity to get that going. And also, I mean, incorporating some sorts of, you know, like vitamin supplements, nothing too crazy, but definitely getting them in the habit of doing that, because if they by chance do eat those processed foods, they still need something to help back that up. And you know, I'll tell you now, I'm in my my 40s, and those Flintstone vitamins I took as a kid, we all right over here. So it's definitely something to introduce them early, like to piggyback with Mr. Baldwin there. Extremely important for them to get that nutrition piece in early, or as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like to,
Go ahead, Dr. Maloney.
yeah, I like to add that as a parent, I think children usually will emulate what we do. So I think setting a positive example of good lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, I think that can go a long way in encouraging them to follow in and do the right thing. So eating right and having them see you exercise or exercising with the kids, that helps a lot. I have a small gym right here where I work out with my daughter when I can over the weekends, and I think that has kind of given her that view. Even if she doesn't do it every time the way I want, it keeps that in mind that my dad is exercising, so that must be important, and maybe in the future she may pick it up more, not less.
Kids definitely model parent behavior. I think, to piggyback on what everybody's saying, if the parent is responsible for the nutrition that the child gets, they're also, if the parent is obese, the child has a significantly increased likelihood of also being an obese adult. So if you build those habits of physical activity and healthy nutrition at a young age, they're much more likely, scientifically speaking, they're much more likely to be healthier adults. And I'm sorry, Carolyn, I interrupted you.
No worries. I was just going to say what I notice that a lot of kids do is the juices and the sodas. I think, just watching our drink intake, those add so many more empty calories that we just don't need. And, you have a soda here, then you have another one throughout the day. Those can just have so much sugar that we don't really think about. That again can add so many empty calories that is just not needed. So just having maybe food readily available in the fridge, that's what most likely they're going to eat, what's available.
Prep,
so
yeah.
Avoid buying those sugary juices or sugary sodas, or don't buy as much, and just limiting that easy availability for them to grab it and go. It's just, I think, something very important.
Sorry.
Okay.
This one's a little bit easier said than done. I'm a parent, but I think we have to be really careful about the associations that we create for our kids with food and with physical activity. So making sure that we're not using physical activity ever as a punishment, so that our kids feel like it's something that they can do and get stress relief from and get joy from. You can hear my kid in the background. And doing the same thing with food. So making sure that every time our kids achieve, that we're not rewarding them with a piece of cake or a treat, and knowing that all of those things are good in moderation. But just being careful about the associations that we create with food and physical activity, and making sure that they're healthy and balanced and mindful. And I know this is something I have to work on. So just a little bit of food for thought.
So our board president has an amazing question. I'm going to place it on the screen for us if you can see it. Her question to us is, how would you attribute exercise and healthy eating to students' moods and social behavior? I know that's off our script, but I thought it was a great question for us.
I can speak to the behavior portion from a science perspective. There was a study that was published on in 2010 on Fitnessgram data from the state of Texas, the entire state, because it's a Fitnessgram state as a whole. And what they did was they linked Fitnessgram data to attendance, behavior, disciplinary actions, and standardized testing. And they saw that as more kids are cardio fit, as more of them get into that healthy fitness zone, they're less likely to have disciplinary issues, and that was a significant relationship. But they were also more likely to attend school and also had better standardized test scores. So essentially, the fit kids are going to do better across all aspects of academic variables. So that's one perspective, but there's a lot of research out there about being physically fit and physically active and how that positively impacts behavior.
Okay. Another question.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was going to chime in real quick. Basically, I just had two words: processed sugar. And more kids that eat sugar, I can tell you just from being a parent and being in education, you can actually see the physical change and the hyperactivity, which makes it more difficult for them to focus. So the diet definitely plays a role.
So go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say too, like you see, when the kids are eating a lot of sugar too, they kind of go through highs and lows. Where first couple minutes after they had all that soda or juice, they're bouncing off the wall and they can't sit still. That's like my kids at home, and then once that wears off, just because those types of foods don't give them that lasting energy they need throughout the school day, then they kind of crash and they get lethargic and tired.
So there's a question from a parent. Go ahead, Mr. Akeem.
Yes, I believe also with a good nutrition and a good fitness program, it facilitates a great hormone balance in the body. And when it's a great hormone balance in the body, it means that the body will be functioning at a perfect condition. And the neurotransmitters in the body there will also be a great function of just neurotransmitters in the body as well, which will help with the mental and the physical and the emotional, and there's always a balance. So there's big benefit when it comes to eating healthy and staying fit. Great benefit.
Okay, so one more question on script. Miss Phoenix asks, once again, financial situations come into play. Unhealthy food is cheaper. Please give parents a suggestion for dealing with that. I thought that was an excellent question. What kind of advice can we give to parents who are economically disadvantaged, or where Whole Foods costs a lot more than ShopRite? What can we say to them?
Well, a lot of things. I mean, there's certain ways that you can find certain items that might be actually cheaper, because I get it. And what I tend to do with my students is try to give them a $10 budget to find out how to find the most healthiest items to make a meal. So it's almost like it's practice, it's trial and error. And of course, as you get, more involved into it, you'll be able to get like, okay, I can see this, I can see that. Just replacing like one little thing, each time you shop or something like that, that can do that. Also, like fruit markets or farmers markets, they have a lot of different things that you can get for a cheaper price, and things like that, for especially for like the fruits and vegetable pieces. Even if you have to go as far, instead of getting the canned foods, you could probably get like the frozen veggies when they're on sale. I do a lot of searching on sale because I had to change how I ate as well, because at one point I was pre-diabetic, so I get it. But you definitely, like, one thing a day, like, or not a day, but each time you shop, you just try to transform something. Don't try to do an overhaul at once, because it can become overwhelming, not only financially but just emotions. Like, what am I going to do with all this food? Don't just throw it away, but just start changing it gradually.
And I can tell you, parents, just from experience, when I put on that, I called my COVID weight, I lost 30 pounds, and most of it was cutting out sugar. Like, I stopped drinking the Snapples and the sodas, and I just started drinking water, and that didn't cost a lot. Actually, I saved some money. Buying a bottle of water is cheaper than, getting cases of soda. So if you could just start there, you could change the way your child eats, and that's affordable. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think this is a really good question, because it's definitely true. And I think general guidance is, we always want to shop from the outside section of the grocery store. That's where the produce is, and bread and meat and cheese. And some of the things that are in processed foods, which again, you can eat in moderation, actually chemically make us overeat. So rarely are any of us going to overeat broccoli. It's just not something that happens, right? You eat broccoli and you eat it, and then you're like, I think that's enough. So sometimes we find that we're not eating as much food because our body's able to respond physiologically to like, okay, I'm full, I don't need any more food. But when you take out a package of Oreos, it's like, how am I at the last Oreo? So something to think about, also just kind of in relation to the cost, is you may be spending more money on food, but less money on healthcare issues. So we're really looking at the big picture of health here, and how does the way that we're thinking about the prevention side of things, what we're putting into our bodies, how is that going to help prevent us from having to get a health treatment? And I know that's kind of, we've got to zoom out to be able to see that. But that's just kind of my 2 cents on that.
And to piggyback on what Kristen was saying, because that's absolutely true, it's hard sometimes to look at that from such a wide range, but there is actual research that we did at the Cooper Institute that showed that medical costs later in life are thousands of dollars cheaper if you eat healthier early in life. So that is certainly one of the benefits. While it is not the most immediate way to save money, prevention is key and ultimately saves tens of thousands of dollars down the line.
Yeah, definitely. So the question I want to get to now is, why is it important for students to take Fitnessgram seriously? And Cooper Institute, if you could take the lead on talking to us about why should students take this test that we administer in 3rd to 12th grade in East Orange. Why should they take it seriously?
Sure, I can start with that. And I think I covered a lot of that in that beginning opening question, the fact that it's linked to health outcomes and it's all about keeping the child healthy. But really what we want Fitnessgram to do is to create self-awareness for a child. Oftentimes we don't know that a problem exists because we're either shielded from it or we just don't have that information. So it's a self-awareness tool that is utilized to help a child know where they are currently and set goals. So Fitnessgram is all about, where am I today and what goals do I need to set to be a healthier human tomorrow? And that's really why they should take it seriously, is because, okay, now I know whether I'm at risk for health outcomes. I know where I am today. And I also know, based on the student reports, et cetera, that come out of Fitnessgram software, where I need to be. So it allows students to set goals. And what's also great about it is that these individual student reports can be emailed to parents. They can be printed if schools have the capacity to print. They're available in English and Spanish. So it's really a self-awareness tool for the child, but as well as for the family. Oftentimes we find that families are not so keen on admitting when their child is not necessarily in shape, or maybe their child is overweight. So unless they get this tool that tells them scientifically this is where your child stands, they just don't know. So I think that's why they should take it seriously, so that they know where they are at with respect to health.
And kind of piggybacking off of Dr. Pavlovich, having information is really important. So if you don't know, like she said, if you don't know that you have a health problem, you can't change it. And there's tons of research on how much easier it is to change a behavior and a habit in a health condition as a child. I mean, we all know what it's like to try to lose 10 pounds as an adult, like is an uphill battle. But as a kid, it's like you run down the street and it all just like falls off. I mean, it's not that easy, but our goal is to help kids both have that awareness at a younger age and kind of empower parents to have that conversation with their children. And we also find that, part of the goal is to change the health of a whole family. We've talked so much about how parents are a role model for their kids, but in that same way, kids can be a role model for their parents. So when kids come home and say, hey, I need you to help me be active, that can change the lifestyle of the whole family. So we're really hoping that this engages whole families, whole communities, whole school campuses, and starting to live a healthier lifestyle and starting to be a little bit more prevention-based and a little bit less treatment-based.
Great. And so can you talk to us a little bit about the Play 60 app? I think that would be great for parents to know about.
Sure. So the Play 60 app is actually a collaboration between American Heart Association and the NFL Foundation. And what the app is designed to do, it can be downloaded on a child's device. They, I think, even have classrooms that can do a whole setup. And essentially, the app has a lot of avatars in it. The child picks an avatar and then moves their body in order for the avatar on screen to move. And they do all the basic exercises on there, the squats, the lunges, jumping jacks. So the kid is able to be subjected to a lot of different exercises and physical activities through the NFL Play 60 app.
Great. And there were some kits we kind of talked about early on. Do you want to share that?
Sure. So our schools that are part of the NFL Play 60 Fitnessgram project will also receive two types of kits. One is an NFL flag kit. So they get a flag kit from Gen Youth, has 10 footballs, 50 flag belts, and then we encourage our teachers to use those flag kits, not just within physical education, but creating leagues or before after school programs, etc. So that's one of the kits that they receive also through this grant. And then a second kit is through Fuel Up to Play 60. So our project is really a collective impact model where we have contribution from 5 different partners coming together to help the whole child. And Fuel Up to Play 60 is all about nutrition. So what they did was they created for this project what is known as a play in a box. And it's valued at about $1,000, but each school will receive coolers, shelves, and carts to do grab-and-go breakfast opportunities and healthy snacks. And these carts and coolers can be used even if a school is remote, and they can use to do meal distribution in a line of cars outside of the school if you guys do that. So they can really be utilized in any setting. It's pretty nice, high-quality equipment. They're also this year including a slicer for snacks to cut up fruits, vegetables, and individuals bag sealers so that it's preventing germ distribution. So all of these snacks can then be packaged individually so as to prevent germ spread. So yeah.
Great.
And we actually played with one of the footballs yesterday on our lunch break, so we can vouch for
good stuff.
The equipment is really awesome, and you just take it outside and can use it. So really easy way to stay active.
I think we could create a mini football team. All these young ladies on here, and then maybe we can challenge the guys to a football game. And
fly us up.
I would fly in for that.
Yeah, I actually played, so let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do it.
There you go. So Carter, you ready for us?
I'm ready for it. Come on.
So listen. So our last question for tonight. Share with us, what is your favorite healthy meal or snack or both? We want to hear from everyone. What's your favorite healthy meal or snack?
I can start with mine. So I'll just talk about my meals can be a lot different depending on, what my specific goals are for football, whether I'm trying to gain weight, lose weight, whatever that looks like. But I'd say a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And as simple as that is, it's protein and you get carbs when you need it. So after a workout, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to just kind of reboost the nutrition. And then also for me, protein shakes. So mixing that in with water, and there's a ton of different types of protein powder or protein shakes that that you can kind of customize based on what your child needs, what your child's looking for. But a lot of those have a ton of BCAAs and vitamins and all that kind of stuff in them. So I'd say those are kind of my two go-to.
Yeah, peanut butter and jelly sandwich is my favorite too. Anybody else?
Yeah, sliced apples and peanut butter.
That's mine. That's mine. That's definitely good. That peanut butter with the protein, and I mean, of course, if there's somebody has a nut allergy, so there's a different type that you can use. But that's my definite go-to. A green apple, sometimes a red apple, depending on what kind it is. But a green apple or red apple with some peanut butter, get that going, and also some there's like these little granola clusters or something like that, just to get those complex carbs. Because we're always moving all day. You got to get something. And sometimes you just don't have that time to just sit and eat. So I may have that with my piece of fruit and, of course, a protein shake or something like that to level out. And my water. That's one of my favorites. So that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I could consume this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I love the brown rice and grilled salmon and sauteed garlic spinach. And that's always my go-to. 2 days, I think 2 days ago, I had that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yes,
Oh
I
my
did have it for
goodness.
breakfast. There's good proteins, you got good omega-3 and some good vegetables and high in potassium for your spinach. You can't go wrong with that.
For breakfast though,
Yep.
If you could have breakfast for dinner, why not have dinner for breakfast?
we're going to Decent House for breakfast. Anyone else? Your
Yeah,
favorite health?
my go-to snack's been carrot sticks and hummus lately. That's been, when I'm watching the game, I'll get, instead of getting chips and dip, I've been trying to switch it up this way, get my vegetables in for the day, and don't feel as guilty.
Yeah, and listen, he really sticks to that because we try to get him to eat bad sometimes, Mr. Hamby. He doesn't. He doesn't come on our side.
Suggestion, just for if you're a dip lover like Mr. Hamby is, what I discovered, I take non-fat Greek yogurt and you add a ranch packet to it and you mix it up and it tastes just as good as the original ranch dip. So a little healthier, not a lot of calories. Try it. It's good.
For me, it's a granola bar with a lot of peanuts in it. For snack, I like to eat mixed vegetables with chicken. It's my favorite meal.
Okay.
I would say mangoes are my favorite snack. I love mangoes, but especially if mixed with some kind of a yogurt as well. And Candace, I got to piggyback on complex carbohydrates. I'm so glad you said that because people are so carb afraid. But if you do high intensity exercise, carbs are very much needed. So yes, agreed with that.
Okay. Anybody else? Did we get everyone? Okay, and I like fruit. Fruit is my since I kind of cut the sugars out, fruit is my my big thing. I love mixed fruit. I like kiwi. I'll just consume it now where before my favorite was chips and candy. So I kind of let that go. So it was great hearing all of your favorite healthy snacks and meals. Anything else anyone wants to add? Because that's our last question. And I'm going to bring back our assistant superintendent, Ms. Champagne, back to the conversation. Is there anything anyone would like to add at the end?
I just wanted to say thank you for having us, first of all, and just wanted to share some encouragement for all of the parents and teachers out there, and just know this is not a diet. This is not a one-time thing. This is not crash behavior. This is just every day, just trying to be a little bit healthier and live well, and use resources that are available to do that. So you guys are all doing awesome. So stay at it.
And also, Dr. Tyler, this is a lifestyle. This is something that is going to carry on. Hopefully, like she said, live a long and prosperous life. But at the end of the day, we're doing this so that young people understand you can live long, but it's about the quality of life. You don't want to be older and have all these ailments if they can be avoided. So it's about quality of life, and it starts now.
Okay. I just want to say to everyone first, to the Cooper Institute and the Carter, thank you all for really coming out and sharing all of the positivity and the wellness understanding with our community is definitely something that we need within our community. We are so looking forward, like I said earlier, with regards to this particular partnership, because, like you said, it's about a village, right? It's about the parents at home. It's about educating the teachers. It's about educating the students so that collectively with inside of our community, we are healthier, we are living healthier, and that we are mind, body, and soul cohesive. And that really comes through daily regimens and truly understanding this. And what I've heard has been a lifestyle change into our physical education teachers, our trainer, our supervisors, our athletic director. We are really looking at how we begin to navigate as a district and making physical education important. Like when we model that importance, when we begin to say that this is what we're doing on a day to day. So I love the fact when Ms. Cummins started talking about, the budget. And I was like, in the chat, look at that, a budget and eating inside of our physical education classroom, so that we're really talking about why this matters and how we can begin to change the lives of our children very early on so that they are able to live longer. So this has been amazing. The parents, the community in the chat, I know a lot of you were talking, but they were really engaged with what was going on. And that's what the partnership is about really expanding it through the full village and making sure that we are able to live healthier lives. So thank you to all of you.
Okay, and thank you to East Orange community for joining us. And guys, I think we're prone for a part two, because there were a lot of questions that we didn't address. So East Orange, we promise we'll come back before you and have some more conversations about things that you want to know about and dealing with health. And listen, if I can say this, I hope Miss Champagne don't be upset with me for saying it, but let your children get dressed for gym. I think I speak for every phys ed teacher in the district. They shouldn't have to fight them to get dressed and participate in phys ed. It is just as important as language arts, math, social studies, and all the other subjects. So we need your support so that we can help your children live healthier lives. On that note, amen. On that note, have a great night. We'll talk to you all really soon.